Welcome to Delhi discussion. The first topic is government's new announcement for the labor market in the budget. The article discusses how government program aim to improving the labor market may not be effective. Government has made program to improve the labor market, but critics says this should not be that effective. It suggests that policy improvements to create a better business environment are more impactful than direct intervention like forced internship program or fiscal subsidy. So providing a better business environment is projected to be more beneficial than this internship program for the laborers as proposed in the budget. The government announced a new program to improve the labor market. One key initiative is the internship program in the top 500 companies. So in the budget, government decided to provide internship to 10 million people in top 500 companies of India in the over the coming 5 years. The program will provide 60,000 per intern per year, means 5,000 per month, funded by the government and corporate social responsibility contributions. So those internship program, the interns will get a stipend of 5,000 per month for 1 year, and they will be given internship program in 500 top company in India. So voluntary participation, companies involvement is voluntary in this program. So centralized portal, establishment of a centralized online portal for applications. Limited impact. So it has been criticized. Eligibility, numerous rules about applicant eligibility will be defined in times to come. They have just been declared. So detail of the programs will be declared soon by the government. Then what are the criticism of the announcement? Limited impact. The program aims to process 10 million interns over 5 years, which is a small number compared to the needs of the Indian labor market. Only 10 millions interns will be given the training, but the labor market need more. Voluntary participation, the sentence participation of company is voluntary. That means those 500 company who will provide the internship, their participation is voluntary, not compulsory. So voluntary highlights that company already have internship program and may find centralized portals and subsidy processes daunting. So they may not be showing that interest because it is compulsory, it is voluntary. Company will not be forced to take this interns, rather their participation is voluntary. Potential coercion, concern arises that the voluntary nature might turn into coercion, deterring investment and leading to increased bureaucratic control, because the decisions will be made by the government, by the bureaucracy, and the company will only provide the internship facility. There is a doubt that this may lead to more bureaucratic control over the entire process than by giving the flexibility to the company to decide and take their interns. Inefficiency of the direct intervention. Direct fiscal interventions like the production link incentive scheme are costly. For instance, a 5% production link incentive on 1 trillion exports could cost $50 billion, which is too high amount for India to provide it. Historical context, economic growth from 1991 to 2011 was driven by policy improvements, reducing customs duties and ensuring rule of law rather than direct government intervention. Way forward, policymakers should focus on improving the environment for private investment. This involves reducing policy-related barriers and ensuring stable long-term policies. Direct interventions like the internship program or the production incentive schemes are less effective than creating conditions where private firm want to invest. Okay. The next is India's plan for energy transition. The article discusses India's plan for a balanced energy transition, including policy for green finance, renewable energy projects, thermal power, and industry regulations. It highlights initiative to boost green energy, develop carbon market, and support small. India plans to add about 80 gigawatt of coal-based power generation capacity by 2032. Okay, so what is this? So the demand, India plans to add about 80 gigawatt of coal-based power generation capacity. Another 80 gigawatt will be from the coal power plants. Green finance taxonomy. The finance ministry with the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy will develop a taxonomy for climate finance. This will enhance the availability of capital for climate adoption and mitigation. Support for renewable energy. Taxonomy will support the development of the market for green bonds, funding renewable energy, battery storage, and sustainable technologies. Then rooftop solar installations. The PM Surya Ghar scheme, as part of the PM Suryodaya Yojana, will set up rooftop solar installation in 10 million houses, like 1 crore households in India will be provided with rooftop solar panel as promised by the government or as projected under this particular policy. Okay. So then support for the rooftop solar installation. The PM Surya Ghar scheme will set up rooftop solar installation in 10 million houses. Custom duty exemptions. The budget exempts custom duty on solar capital goods but does not exempt solar glasses and copper interconnects. So although government want to provide custom duty exemption on this, but this is limited to a considerable extent. Advanced thermal plant. A 800 megawatt advanced ultra supercritical thermal power plant will be developed by the NTPC, National Thermal Power Corporation, and the BHEL, Bharat Heavy Electrical Limited. This is also being projected by the government. Pumped storage projects. A policy for the pumped storage project will support electricity storage and smooth integration of renewable energy, maintaining grid stability. Had to abate the industries. The government will move industries like steel and cement from energy efficiency targets to emission targets. The Indian carbon market will launch in 2026, aiming to be the world's largest emission trading system by 2030. So that means energy that carbon emission will be reduced and India will be in a position to go for carbon trading. Support for MSME, investment grade energy audit and financial support will help traditional micro and small industry to shift to cleaner energy, because normally it is too difficult for the small industry to shift to carbon neutral because the cost involved. But right now government is encouraging them to shift to carbon neutral by encouraging them through different incentives given to them, and it will be possible as projected. So it will be possible for them to shift to clean energy transition. Okay, that The pump storage project, a policy for the PSP, will support electricity storage and smooth integration of renewable energy, maintaining grid stability. Then hard to abate industries, the government will move industries like the steel and cement from energy efficiency targets to emission targets. The Indian carbon market will launch in 2026, aiming to be world's largest emission trading system by 2030. Support from MSME, investment grade energy audit and financial support will help traditional micro and small industry shift to cleaner energy, starting with 60 clusters and expanding to 100 clusters in the second phase. That means cluster based MSME will be given the priority for making them energy efficient. Then next is the agriculture initiative in the 24-25 Union Budget. The 24-25 Union Budget introduces ambitious agricultural initiatives alongside modest financial allocations. It highlights research, sustainable practices and digital infrastructure with a focus on natural farming and crop diversification. However, the effectiveness of these programs could be hindered by the budget constraints. What are the initiatives announced in the budget? Specific initiatives: release of 109 high yielding climate okay. So natural farming budget plans to transition 10 million farmers to natural farming practices over the 2 years, providing certification and branding support. Additionally, the budget proposes establishing 10,000 bio input resource center to further promote natural farming, because zero budget natural farming need to be promoted and government want to shift from chemical to organic farming and to promote and patronize organic farming. This is the support mechanism of the government. Large scale vegetable clusters, the budget proposed a strategy for self-sufficiency in pulses and oilseed production, reducing India's dependence on imports. It also suggested establishing large scale vegetable clusters near major consumption centers to stabilize price and amid recent volatility in perishable goods, because in India the food inflation is at the highest level, and especially among them is the price of the vegetables. So government has a program called the TUFS, which includes green vegetables, but this program will supplement to that. Digital public infrastructure, this initiative involves digital crop survey in 400 districts and registering 60 million farmers and their land digitally. It also includes distributing Kisan credit card to farmers in 5 states. Okay, then inadequate allocation, the budget for apex research institutions like the ICAR, Indian Council of Research, Central Agricultural Universities, and the National Agricultural Assistance is 7,103 crore in 24-25, down from 7,248 crores. So that means the allocation for the research institutions has been reduced. Rashtriya Krishi Vikas Yojana, the budget allocation increased minimally from 14,000 in 2016 crore last year to only 15,000 crore, a nominal increase in the allocation for the Rashtriya Krishi Vikas Yojana. National Mission on Natural Farming, the budget allocated is 366 crore, down from 559 crore allocated last year. For the natural farming program, government has reduced the allocation. PM Kisan saw no increase in allocation for 24-25. This lack of adjustment for inflation over 5 years could lead rural households to question the effectiveness of non-indexed cash transfer scheme, because PM Kisan is a cash transfer scheme for the farmers around the country, under which 6,000 rupees provided per annum to the farmers in 3 equal installments of 2,000 each. This is what no additional amount has been provided under this. It was same as the last year. So although number of farmers may have increased and inflation has increased, but there is no such increase, commensurate increase in the allocation for this. Okay. Lack of clear roadmap. The budget for agriculture and allied sector covering research, fisheries, animal husbandry and dairy rose by 6%. However, addressing the policy challenge of reducing subsidies and increasing investment in agriculture was not outlined in the budget. Allocation prioritization in budget. According to the International Food Policy Research Institute, the budget allocation prioritizes crop like cereals and food grains based on calories and area. However, it provides little support for high value produce such as fruits, which are driving agricultural growth. So, government is emphasizing on the production of fruits and vegetables. Research and development in agriculture. Nearly two-thirds of India's population resides in rural areas, where agriculture employs 45.8% of the workforce as per the 2020 to 23 economic survey. As per the new survey, this report to 20 to 23. Neglecting this crucial sector could hinder the realization of Viksit Bharat 2047 and economic stability. Despite agriculture's growth slowing from 4.7% in 2023 to 1.4% in 2024, there was high expectation for increased budgetary support to agricultural sector. However, particularly in research and development, the budget fell short. Investing in agricultural research and development has the potential to boost agricultural GDP growth, with estimated return exceeding 10 times the initial investment. What are the issues with budgetary allocation of agriculture? Inadequate R&D expenditure. Department of Agricultural Research and Education (DARE) funding. It received 99.4 billion, a slight increase of 0.7 from 98.8 billion in this financial year 24. However, this falls short of expectation and represents a decrease in the real terms. Agricultural research intensity, it decreased to 0.43% in 2023-24 from its peak of 75% in 2008-9, and is expected to decline further in 2020 financial 25. This trend could impact food security and may lead to increased food inflation. Allocation for agriculture. The allied sector, the budget allocated rupees 5.12 trillion for agriculture and allied sectors. The Minister of Agriculture and Farmer Welfare received 1.22 trillion, a mere 5% increase from 1.16 trillion in financial year 24, failing to keep up with the inflation. Then faulty policy and subsidies. Much of the support for the agriculture, food and rural sector has been directed towards welfare measures and subsidies such as food and fertilizer subsidies. While these subsidies have boosted agricultural productivity, they have also contributed to soil fertility decline, groundwater depletion, and increased emission of nitrous oxide and methane. These issues were recognized in the Economic Survey 23-24. They have also encouraged unhealthy diets rich in sugar and carbohydrates rather than fiber and protein, impacting public health negatively. What should be the way forward? There is an urgent need to transform agriculture into an engine of growth through farming practices that benefit both farmers and the planet. Effective policy making through reorienting subsidy can enhance value addition in agriculture, boost farmers' incomes, and create opportunity for food processing and exports. The next topic is social sector allocation in the budget 2024. The budget 2024 continued to trend previous. So, the budget 24 continues the trend of previous years regarding social sector allocations despite claiming to focus on youth, farmer, women, and the poor. The economic survey chapter, social sector benefit the empower, suggest progress in welfare programs, but the budget allocation tell a different story. But the allocations under various social sector and employment scheme in the new budget, education, school education, there has been a nominal increase of 5,000 crore in allocation with higher estimated recoveries. This indicates a rise in fee and self-financing schemes. Higher education, there is a minor increase of 3,000 crore in allocation with a similar trend of higher estimated recoveries. So, health and family welfare, there is a marginal increase of 1,500 crore compared to the previous year, raising concern about the adequacy of funding of the healthcare initiatives. Food subsidy, there is almost no increase despite the need to expand coverage to current population level and address the anticipated rise in economic cost of food grains. The current PDS still relies on 2021 census population figures because after that census has not been conducted in the country. Postal schemes, school midday meal, there is a slight increase from 11,600 crore to 12,467 crore, but remains below the actual expenditure of 12,618 crore in 2022-23. The Sakhyam Anganwadi scheme, there is a marginal increase from 20,550 crore 54 crore to 21,200 crore. However, there are no provisions for higher salaries for Anganwadi workers, unchanged since 2018. Increase honorarium for midday meal cook or enhanced allocation for supplementary nutrition for the children. That means no provision has been made to increase the allocation to specific sections or specific program. Samarthya including PMMBY and CREST scheme, the allocation was reduced to 2,517 crore from 2,582 crore. The PMMBY excludes at least half of eligible women, and the amount of 5,000 per pregnant woman has remained unchanged since 2017. So amount has not been changed. Rural employment and poverty alleviation. Manrega, the allocation remained unchanged from the revised estimate of the previous year, impacting states' implementation and work availability due to its demand-driven nature, because Manrega is a demand-driven nature of its work. The Prime Minister's package for employment and skilling, it includes government-sponsored internship incentive for EPFO enrollment to formalize the job and skill development program. This package total 2 lakh crore over 5 years, largely reliant on industry response. However, budget allocation for the initiative seems very insufficient, and industry has been given the option to voluntarily join. There is no compulsory, so voluntary for industry to join it. Then social security and pensions. The National Social Assistance Program, the budget remained unchanged at 9,652 crore, which is effectively a reduction in real terms considering inflation. There is no room for expanding coverage or adjusting pension amounts. The central contribution of 2,000 per person per month has remained unchanged since 2009. What are the issue with these allocations? Shift towards contributory scheme and privatization. The government is cutting benefits arbitrarily, favoring contributory scheme like the Atal Pension Yojana. In education and health sector, there is clear trend towards privatization and prioritizing cost effectiveness, as emphasized in the economic survey's new welfare strategy. Market principles in social services, this approach ignores the difficulties in using market principles in social services and does not account for the long-term economic benefit of enhancing human development outcomes. Private sector and employment. The private sector is important for tackling the employment challenges and is mandated to allocate the corporate social responsibility funds towards this effort. However, this means CSR fund originally intended for minimal societal contribution are now required to subsidize their own wages. Then the Bastille scheme, the next topic for the preliminary. In the recent Union Budget 24-25, the Finance and Corporate Affairs Minister introduced a new pension scheme named the Bastille for the minors. So description: this scheme, part of the National Pension Scheme, aims to assist parents and guardians in preparing for their children's future financial requirement. Key feature: parents or guardians can open an account for their minor children and contribute towards their retirement savings, which will accumulate until the child reaches 18 years old. When the child reaches adulthood, the accumulated amount will be transferred to the standard NPS account. On attaining the age of majority, the plan will be converted seamlessly to a normal NPS account, National Pension Scheme. So it operates similarly to the existing NPS, which helps individual build a retirement corpus by making regular contribution throughout their career. NPS contributions are invested in market-linked instruments like the stocks and bonds. This offers the potential for higher return than traditional fixed income choices. Significance of the Vassila scheme: it sets the foundation for responsible financial management from an early age. As these accounts transition into regular NPS plans, when the child reaches adulthood, they ensure a smooth continuation of saving habits into adulthood. Then Polavaram Irrigation Project: the Finance Minister stated that the government is fully committed to completing and financing the Polavaram Irrigation Project in Andhra Pradesh. The project is a multi-purpose irrigation development under the construction of the Godavari River, spanning the Elliru and the East Godavari district of Andhra Pradesh. It has been designed as a national project by the Indian government under the NDA government. So, the objective is to develop irrigation, hydropower, and drinking water facilities in East Godavari, Visakhapatnam, West Godavari, and the Krishna district of Andhra Pradesh. Generate 960 megawatt of hydropower and supply water to 28.5 lakh people of 611 villages. Achieve irrigation potential of 4.368 lakh hectares. Implement the Godavari Krishna link, transferring 80 million cubic of surplus water to the TMC of surplus water to Krishna river, shared by Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, and the Maharashtra. Then the Angel tax: recently the Indian Minister of Finance proposed abolishing the angel tax for all types of investors during the presentation of the Union Budget 24-25 in the Parliament. Angel tax was applied to send capital raised by the unlisted companies from Indian investors if the share price exceeded the company's fair market value. Funds raised above this fair value were considered income and subject to the tax, because what is the share value? If the fund is raised more than that, then that is called angel investors, and that is taxed. It originated from the section 56(2)(7)(b) of the Income Tax Act 1961, the first introduced in 2012 to prevent black money laundering through the share sales. It was charged at the rate of 30.9% on the net investment exceeding the fair market value. Exemption: in 2019, the government exempted startup from angel tax if they are recognized by the DPIIT. Their paid up share capital and share premium do not exceed 25 crore, excluding funds from the NRI, venture capital firms, and specified companies. Angel investors can claim a 100% tax exemption on investment exceeding the fair market value. However, the investors must have a net worth of 2 crore or an income of 25 lakhs in the first 3 fiscal years to get this exemption. Then Purbodaya, the budget speech, the finance minister said government will formulate a plan Purbodaya for the all-round development of the east region of the country. About Purbodaya, the Purbodaya concept was first publicly aired by Prime Minister Modi during a meeting in Paradip in 2015, after he had dedicated a refinery of the Indian Oil Corporation in Paradip. The government of India will formulate a plan Purbodaya for all-round development of the eastern region of the country, covering Bihar, Jharkhand, West Bengal, Odisha, and Andhra Pradesh. This will cover human resource development, infrastructure, and generation of economic opportunity to make the region an engine to attain Viksit Bharat. Then the lactic acid bacterium. Scientists have discovered a new strain of lactic acid bacterium, MCC0200, with significant potential as a probiotic beyond the dairy industry. Genetic analysis: the MCC0200 revealed its ability to survive gastrointestinal conditions, adapt to intestinal surfaces, and promote gut health. The strain shows resilience against gastric juice and bile acid, and possesses gene adding and tolerance and bile resistance. The MCC0200 can adhere to that mucosal surface auto-aggregates and co-aggregate with pathogenic bacteria, enhancing gut colonization and immune function. It also demonstrates antioxidative property and can produce essential vitamins like the folate. The MCC0200 has cholesterol lowering capability which could benefit cardiovascular health of the individual. This strain diverse probiotic attributes and safety profile make it a promising candidate for food and pharmaceutical application. Then dark oxygen. Scientists have discovered dark oxygen being produced in the deep ocean. So dark oxygen is oxygen produced in the deep ocean independent of sunlight by metallic nodules on the sea floor. How it is being produced? These naturally occurring metallic nodules act like batteries, generating electric current and split COFs H2O into hydrogen and oxygen. Application support for deep sea life provides oxygen for the marine organism in deep sea environment. Potential extraterrestrial insight suggests similar oxygen production could occur on other planets and moons, possibly supporting life. Environmental impact. Deep sea mining for these nodules could disrupt oxygen production and harm the marine life. Ecosystem destruction. Mining activity may destroy unknown and poorly understood deep sea ecosystem. Regulatory oversight. Ensuring environmentally friendly mining practices is crucial to mitigate the damage in the deep sea mining, because more and more countries are entering into deep sea mining. So this may have negative impact if they go on a continuous process of deep sea mining. Then the Vishnupad and the Mahadodi temple. Finance Minister announced during the Union Budget speech that corridor project will be built from the Vishnupad temple in Gaya to the Mahabodhi temple in Bodh Gaya, Bihar. These projects aims to transform the temple into world-class pilgrims and tourist destination similar to Kashi Vishwanath temple corridor. Dedicated to Lord Vishnu, this temple features 440 cm long footprint believed to be of Lord Vishnu's. Built in 1787 by Queen Ahilyabai Holkar, it stands about 100 feet tall, but 44 pillars and is located on the bank of the Falgu river. It is significant during the Pitra Paksha, a period of tribute to the remembrance of the ancestors called the Pitru Paksha in Odia. The Mahabodhi temple, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, this temple marks the location where the Gautama Buddha attained enlightenment and Nirvana under the Mahabodhi tree. Originally built by Emperor Ashoka in the 3rd century BC, the present structure dates back to the 5th-6th century and is one of the earliest Greek Buddhist temples in the world. Then coming to the answer writing, analyze the key components of the Indian budget and discuss how each component influences the overall economic policy of the government. The Indian budget is an annual financial statement presented by the Government of India detailing its revenue and expenditure strategy for the upcoming fiscal year. The Indian budget 24-25 presented by the Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman focuses on 9 key priorities to achieve the Vikasit Bharat. Key component of the Indian budget: revenue receipt. Revenue receipts are non-redeemable government receipts that do not create a claim and primarily fund current expenses. They comprise tax revenue and non-tax revenues. Tax revenues derived from the taxation. These includes direct taxes like personal income tax and corporation tax, and indirect taxes like the excise duty and the custom duties. For example, income from the GST constitute a major part of the tax revenue in India. Non-tax revenue, recurring income from sources other than taxes such as interest received, dividends and the fees. For instance, dividend from government's investment in public enterprises. Capital receipt to the government involve monetary gains from loans and asset sales, impacting liability or reducing financial asset. Loans, money borrowed by the government from financial institutions and other sources. For example, government borrowing from the Reserve Bank of India is part of the loan. Sale of government asset, disinvestment of the public sector undertakings or the disinvestment proceeds. Because with disinvestment, government sell its share in the public sector undertakings. For example, sale of the shares in the company like Air India, because Air India privatized, government share is sold, and that amount is called as the disinvestment proceeds for the government. Okay, revenue expenditure, spending incurred for purpose other than the creation of physical or financial assets of the central government. It covers normal functioning expenses, interest payment and the grants. Interest payment on loans and various reserve funds, the largest component of revenue expenditure. For example, interest payment on external loans, subsidies, financial support to various sectors such as agriculture and food. For example, fertilizer subsidy for farmers. Capital expenditure, government spending that results in the creation of physical or financial assets, a reduction in financial liabilities. It includes investment and major infrastructure projects. Infrastructure projects, building highway, railway and other major public work comes under the infrastructure projects. For example, investment in the Bharatmala projects for the road development, and the Sagarmala project for the marine development or port development. Investment in shares, government investing in the public sector enterprises. For example, equity investment in major public sector banks by the government, equity infusion. Fiscal policy treatment, these are mandated by the Financial Responsibility and the Budget Management Act 2003 and include the minimum term fiscal policy statement, fiscal policy strategy statement and the macroeconomic framework statement. Medium term fiscal policy statement sets 3-year target for fiscal indicators. Fiscal policy strategy statement examines current fiscal policies and sets priorities. For instance, strategy for enhancing tax compliance and reduce subsidies. Impact of budget component on overall economic policy. Revenue receipt impact, efficient tax collection and non-tax revenue generation ensure fiscal stability and enable the government to meet its expenditure needs without excessive borrowing. For instance, high GST collection can reduce fiscal deficit, providing more funds for the public welfare. Capital receipt impact, capital receipt finance long-term investment and development projects, catalyzing economic growth by providing necessary funds. For instance, borrowing for the construction of new highway boost connectivity and trade. Revenue expenditure impact, revenue expenditure affects short-term economic activity by funding government operations, subsidies and welfare programs. It ensures the smooth functioning of public services and support vulnerable population through the subsidies. For instance, subsidies on essential goods like fertilizer ensure affordability for the farmers. Capital expenditure impact, investment in physical and financial assets improve productivity and economic capacity leading to sustainable development. Okay, for instance, building new railway and highway enhances transportation efficiency and economic integration. Fiscal policy treatment impact, this ensures a balanced approach to managing revenue expenditure and debt. They help maintain financial discipline and align budgetary policy with long-term economic goals. For example, the medium-term fiscal policy statement sets target for fiscal deficit reduction, ensuring sustainable fiscal management. The Union Budget is a comprehensive tool that shapes India's economic policy by allocating resources, managing deficit and promoting growth through strategic investment and welfare schemes. Contemporary developments such as economic recovery post-pandemic underscore the importance of a balanced budget that fosters sustainable growth and social equity, Effective budget management ensures economic resilience and inclusive development, aligning with the government's long-term economic goals. Okay, then coming to the MCQ, which region are covered under the Purvodaya plan for all-round development of budget 24-25? Bihar, Assam, West Bengal, Sikkim, Andhra Pradesh. Sikkim is not there, and Bihar, West Bengal, and Andhra Pradesh 1, 3, and 5. Assam and Sikkim are not there because they are part of the northeast. Okay, 1, 3, 5 is B. Which of the following statements are correct about the brown dwarf? They are from the large clouds of gas and dust similar to the stars, right? Brown dwarf are about 1,000 times more massive than Jupiter, right? It emits their own light due to nuclear fusion and their core. No, 1 and 2 are correct. Because the following statement about the economic survey of India, it is published by the Ministry of Finance. That's right. They release annually before the Union budget. Yes, the chief economic advisor. Both 1 and 2 are correct. The reference to the Union budget 24-25, which of the following statement are correct? The angel tax on foreign investors received by the startup has been increased. That's wrong. Has been abolished. The tax rates on both short-term and long-term capital gain have gone up, right? Custom duty on gold, silver, platinum has been lowered. 2 and 3 are correct. Consider the following payers: the NPS Bastello, National Pension Scheme for the minors; Samarthya, providing immediate shelter and rehabilitation to women in difficult circumstances; Sudhar Griha, empowerment of women by providing public jobs. So here only 1 is correct because 2 is mismatched. 1 is here, this is here, this is 1. Then consider the following statement: genetically modified mustards is a crop that is resistant to drought and flooding. Genetic Engineering Appraisal Committee is the regulator of genetically modified organisms in India. Only 2 is correct. Thank you for watching. Keep watching regularly to update yourself. Thank you.